Crime podcasts are becoming more and more popular, and a Michiana native is behind one that's gaining a lot of attention right now. Ashley Flowers grew up in Granger. She went to Penn. She's now the voice behind Crime Junkies, The Deck, and a brand new podcast called The Deck Investigates. It focuses on an almost 40-year-old cold case out of Argus, Indiana. After doing some investigating, Ashley realized the case was more than just an episode. It needed to be a series. Fitting in with what we do here at WNDU with Michiana Unsolved, Christine Karsten knew she had to speak with Ashley to learn more about the unsolved murder of Darlene Hulse.
Friday, August 17th, 1984. A day that started out just like any other. 28-year-old Darlene Hulse was getting her 3 kids ready for the day.
And their house is right off of old US 31 in Argus. The road that they actually live on is 20B Road, but it's not a road that is marked. But it's the only house sitting there, even today, on that corner.
Darlene's husband, Ron, had already left for work. But it was around 9:30 a.m. when there was a knock on the door. With 2 of the kids still in the bathtub, Darlene answered. As the kids waited, they could hear growling. Thinking they just got a new puppy, one of them got out of the tub, only to find a man over their mom trying to tape her eyes, mouth, and hands.
And the man that the girls described, because he wasn't wearing a mask or anything, they said he was in his 20s. He was blonde. He had clean, combed over hair. He was completely clean shaven, kind of a long face, kind of a long nose. But they said, the thing that was so confusing to them when they were young is they said he looked so normal. He was wearing the corduroys, this striped T-shirt, and they said they couldn't comprehend what he was doing to their mother and how they perceived him to look.
Since there was no 911 at the time, one of the girls tried to dial one of the only numbers she knew for help. Unfortunately, her aunt's line was busy.
And that's when the perpetrator came and ripped the phone out of her hand.
The last thing the kids could hear was their mom telling them to run, and they did. Completely nude, the 2 kids ran down the road to Grandma's house for help, leaving the 1-year-old behind. They called police, and when they finally got to the home, Darlene was gone. The 1-year-old was fine, but covered in her mother's blood. That blood left a trail from the living room out the front door down the sidewalk to where the suspect's vehicle was potentially parked.
Green, rusted car. It was a 4-door, 70s-style boat car that they still have never been able to find as well.
Also missing from the house, a fireplace poker rod, leading police to believe the suspect beat Darlene, caused massive bleeding, and potentially incapacitated her before loading her into his vehicle.
And the next day, her body was found in a patch of wood 6 miles from her home.
Darlene's cause of death was ruled blunt force trauma.
In that first year, in 1984, they had a couple of suspects, a guy in Texas, they had some locals, a guy in Alabama, all of them basically ruled out, and then the case just kind of stalled.
Today, Ashley says the case sits in the prosecutor's office, just waiting to be solved.
In order for the case to move, they have to move it, but they keep saying they don't have the resources to move it. And what we've uncovered is that they have a partial male DNA profile that they got off of Darlene's clothing that is just sitting there.
Ashley says with advanced technology, she believes a full DNA profile could be pulled from other items of evidence. This is why she and Darlene's kids are asking you to sign a petition at darlenehulse.com. You are also encouraged to call the Marshall County Prosecutor directly and submit a tip to the Marshall County Sheriff's Department, even if you've already done so.
Now, we did reach out to the Marshall County Prosecutor's Office to talk about this case and where it is today. Last we heard in 2019, the game plan was to start over with fresh eyes and even test new pieces of evidence. While Prosecutor Nelson Chipman declined an interview, he did release a statement saying in part, the exhibits have undergone extensive study by consecutive administrations of detectives, crime scene analysts, psychologists, cold case investigators, and prosecutors. In terms of DNA collection and analysis, he said those painstakingly detailed processes continue to this day, but with even more advanced scientific methods that continue to evolve. Any suggestion to the contrary, as the podcasters are apt to do, is false. And finally, we will continue our best efforts to secure justice for Darlene, her children, her widower, her family, and our community. It has been far too long, end quote. And to watch Christine's full interview with Ashley or to read Prosecutor Chipman's full statement, just head to our website and click on this story.